Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is going to be a journal with me, but it is going to be a little bit different. That it's going to kind of have a theme to it. One of the things that was really integral when I first started my journaling practice was that I was doing kind of like journaling archetypes, journaling themes, journaling things that were in my brain. Not even writing about them. This is like a little handmade journal. I actually made it for Junk Journal July last year, and I made it halfway through that challenge, and then I ended up having to have surgery, and I was not able to continue with it for that month. But I've always wanted to finish it, and I'm not about, holding myself to certain rules or whatever, so I'm just doing whatever I want in it. So I pulled out some ephemera. Kind of the only thing with inner child journaling is that you just think of the things that you liked as a kid, maybe things that you left behind as you went through puberty. If you were like me and decided you were too cool for certain things all of a sudden, or maybe like some people made you feel shame around certain things that you were interested in, certain things that got you excited. That is something personally that I experienced a lot. Or you can just like find some, pick something that was cool for you as a kid. It doesn't have to be something like that you've emotionally attached to because it has a little bit of trauma or, a difficult memory around it. It can really be whatever you want it to be. I'll say no rules. So I pulled out just some random little bits and bobs, and I am going to journal and talk to you guys about what's been going on with me. Number one, I'm gonna probably use a mix of my tape runner here, but also my stapler. You'll see that I get really messy with my paint. I actually really like the way that staples look. I've not been able to master using my hand stitcher for my journals, and I just decided that I'm going to be happy with what I have access to at this time. And I just like the fact that the stapler adds like an extra dimension of like the messy look that I tend to go towards. Yeah, so basically what's been going on with me is that my daughter turned 3 on Monday, and so she unfortunately had an ear infection over the weekend. So we celebrated, but it was very tame compared to what I had wanted to do. We were gonna try to throw her a birthday party at the trampoline park. That obviously did not work. We're actually gonna take her and her brother to the trampoline park this weekend because fortunately she is feeling better. Poor little thing. She was looking forward to it. We actually got her healthy enough where she could go to her pre-K on Monday. She was very much looking forward to taking cupcakes to school. So that kept me relatively busy. I've also been doing some writing. And we found out that we have to get a new roof for our house. So that has kind of kept me busy as far as like, daily duties. Because, I am a stay-at-home mom, stay-at-home wife. And one of the things I handle is like all of the fun paperwork. And when I say fun, I use that term loosely because it's not. But one thing that really happened for me this week is that I was doing, if you're on Instagram or if you follow Megan and the Moon's channel on YouTube, you will know that they have been doing a 365 art prompt for ArtForASpell, their new business. And one of the things that I got really into this week was making myself little ephemeras and scraps out of the pieces from the tutorials from that. It's a really fun little thing, and it is great for inspiration. I have, not gonna lie, I've been feeling like less than inspired recently. So it was great for me to get that extra inspiration where it has been lacking. Something else that I did was that I figured out how kind of, not a design, it's not a design, but I figured out kind of how I wanted to like lay out my trash journals. And I got one done. It was unfortunately not, I don't want to say perfect because none of it has to be perfect, but it was not as, for something I was going to sell, it was not done as well as I would have liked. So I sold it on Instagram this morning for a discounted price. And I'm working on more right now, but I'm really excited. I just kind of figured out that, you know, being able to offer journals that are super accessible in pricing, that have that like funky look to them and that use like reclaimed or thrifted materials. I have a lot of hand-me-down materials from members of family and friends, and from like when I approached journaling in other times of my life. So it has been really cool to kind of develop that and put that together. Another thing that I have been working on is that I am going to be offering in my Instagram, in my Etsy shop, is channeled poetry. If you guys aren't aware, I am a poet. Writing has been a big part of my life off and on for pretty much my whole life. And that is something that I want to be able to bring to my Etsy shop. One of the things that I really do is I try to get into this like channeling open headspace where I'm like tapping into the universe. And I feel like having something I always like the idea of is like having a poem written about you, written for you. And I think having someone like tap in energetically, you know, connect with you energetically and channeling a poem that is specifically about you, I think can be a pretty powerful experience. I'm going to offer it as like a simple PDF option, or I'm going to offer like a nice handmade like keepsake option also. But I haven't hammered out all the details yet. It's just something that I've been working on. I have this sticker here that is from a show. It's Madoka Magica. It is a show. I actually watched it this last year with Sean. It had a pretty huge impact on me, but it's not something necessarily that my inner child liked, but my inner child really enjoyed anime and really enjoyed, it's kind of a horror kind of, I don't know, my inner child enjoyed all of that stuff, like scary, like weird kind of shows, also magical girl shows. I'm actually rewatching Sailor Moon right now. I don't have any Sailor Moon stickers, but this one seemed appropriate and I really think it's cute. And that's something that I really liked. My inner child enjoyed really cutesy, fun things. And for some reason, I started to get really embarrassed about that as I got older, as I moved into as I moved into like my teenage years, and I really started paying attention to like what other people around me were doing, and I realized that like not everybody was at home reading like Sailor Moon fan fiction at night. And you know, obviously looking back now, it's something that I'm like not super happy that happened because I left behind a lot of things that I was really passionate about. But that being said, it did end up, you know, I did end up making some friends and losing friends. I went through like a general like life cycle of like, you know, trying to find myself in my teenage years. And, you know, sometimes that just meant that I wasn't always true to myself, which is unfortunate, but I think that it's something that a lot of us, especially those of us who identify as women, who are in like women friendship circles, maybe identify with, or at least in the early 2000s, which is when I was a teenager. I turned 12 right before the millennium. So I think that it's something that, you know, we probably all aren't super, like, we look back at it now and it's easy to be like, oh, you know, shouldn't be like that. But we're talking about the era of like Britney, Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera, and like all of the actresses and singers and everybody being like stick skinny and having these unrealistic expectations and everything. I have these fun Tea Party stickers. I don't remember where I got them. I got them a long time ago. And I really want to use a couple of them because tea parties was another thing that was really big. If you've seen any of my journal flip throughs, I've probably mentioned that. Lots of cake stickers. Oh. But anyways, the early 2000s and being a teenager during that time was really, you know, learning how to hate yourself, learning how to not appreciate the person that you were naturally and the true you, and more, you know, trying to reach these impossible standards that were set by like media. And, you know, I don't know about you all. I had some really good experiences in my friendship groups when I was in junior high, and like right before junior high. But what I found is that, you know, I've talked to a lot of people of my generation, and I think that, you know, it's something that we all experienced a little bit of, because that was kind of like the theme of the early 2000s was like hating yourself. Yeah. To put it in a not nice way at all. Anyways, I found a couple Tea Party stickers that I really like here. And I am going to just stick them on. I'm not following any rules. I'm not holding myself to any standard. I am literally just, you know, pinning things down. I have this little bundle cluster tag thing that I made. I've been putting them on the top of my tags that go in my journal pockets, but I wanted to use one today because, you know, just to remind me that I can look for inspiration where I need it. And I cut some shapes out of some of my random painted papers that I use when working on my paintings, just to like dab away excess. Anyways, I had these random painted papers and I really wanted to do something with them. And, you know, again, ArtForASpell's 365 art prompts, again, for the win, helped me find the inspiration to work on that. And I stapled it hanging off the side here because I really like having my journal like kind of exploding all over the place. Having it hanging out on all ends, it makes for a really fun side view, if you see here. I've definitely gotten more liberal with that the further along that I've gotten, just trying to have as much fun as possible. I also have these camera stickers I got ages ago, like one of the first times I got into creative journaling, that it didn't stick. And a fun little fact about me is that I always wanted to learn photography. I actually bought some photography books back in the day when I was a kid, and it was way too technical for me to understand. But I had this dream of being a photographer, because I figured like photography and writing, it could go hand in hand. I could be a type of like travel journalist. Not that can't still happen, but obviously that is not the path that I went on directly, which is fine. I'm happy with where my life is, but right now, this journal spread and being present in our journals is about connecting with our inner child and the dreams that we held for ourselves and the things that we enjoyed, the little version of us still inside of us, what they find joy in. And so one of my favorite things to do, there it is to make marks with my pink Posca marker. Pink is a color that I left behind, and I actually didn't really get into pink when I was a kid. This probably wasn't a thing for everybody, but like pink was kind of a color that got made fun of. Like, it was not cool to be like overly girly, at least in the school I grew up in. So I was always very girly and kind of didn't really have anything to do with it. Like, I didn't pursue it, and I always just forced myself to like other things. So reigniting my relationship with the color pink later in life and with things like unicorns and tea parties has been really healing for me. And I'm not really making any specific marks except just adding pink because that's what I like. I also add a lot of lime green because that was my favorite color. Actually, my middle school bedroom was lime green and I loved it. It was very cool. By the time I got to high school, we had moved and we had done my room in red and orange and yellow stripes, like different size stripes. So it was like a little abstract, a little bit like mixy matchy. It was very cool. It was fun. There was like a whole theme to it. And I'm going to add my little signature here, star moth. And I think we're done. This is something you can add, like an inner child meditation, or if you just have like an open dialogue with your inner child, or you know, you can add like a little fold out to where you've like written a letter to them, or you've like had a dialogue with them that you've recorded. You know, you can definitely incorporate more. Sometimes I do things like that, but other times just the images, the colors, the stickers, things that, you know, like I said, little me absolutely loves. Little me is somebody who loved stationery. The fact that I make handmade journals now is something that my inner child just absolutely is giddy about, because like many others that I know, I was a total notebook nerd when I was a kid. And okay, I think this is it. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. Stay tuned to my Etsy shop. I've got more and more offerings getting uploaded there every day. And if there's anything specifically you want to see from me there or here on YouTube, please let me know. You know, unless I have a journal to flip through or, you know, something else to share, it's, you know, journal with me's are always fun. I love taking you guys along for that process, but I don't ever want to be super redundant. So just let me know in the comments, and I hope you guys have a fabulous weekend. Okay, bye.